Well, I don't know if we should be happy about it, that I'm coming here and thinking and feeling this, but Game 10 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, they defeat the Calgary Flames here tonight in what ends up being a lot closer than it needed to be, but I walked away from this one feeling like, probably for the first time this year, yeah, the Leafs played well. Not good, not great, but I think that the Leafs played well here in this one. And considering where we've been at through the first 9 games into the 10th game here tonight against the Calgary Flames in this win, to walk away from even the ones that they did get away with and being like, lucky there, lucky in that one. I don't know that the Leafs deserve 2 points in this, or you just got by with it there. Sure, you just got by with it in this game against Calgary, but point being, I think you played well. And I think you deserved a win here. I'm not overly impressed, and I think there's a lot of work left to do, and we'll dig into that here tonight on the postgame show presented by Bet365, and we'll get into everything, including the play of the game, the grade of the game, our best bets, how everything like that did, as well as players that stood out here tonight for me, what I thought about everything, and I want to read what you guys have to say in the chat as well throughout the course of tonight's show. But, you know, it's one of those ones where I feel like they played well. And I'm happy for this group. I'm happy that you're at least getting that win under your belt before you go off on a 2-game road trip when you're going to go play the Columbus Blue Jackets. You're going to go and kind of have to get away from the city here, or get an opportunity to get away from the city. You can at least do so with 2 wins under your belt. You can at least do so leaving here and say, okay, we got those out of the way. And I do think that there is an element to it. I never played in the NHL, obviously, but Rosie can speak to it, where going on the road, being with the boys, being away from things can kind of help you put it all together. You know, maybe you take a breath for a minute, because it's like, okay, now the season's really going. And, you know, you've been here, you've played an away game, but you played in Buffalo for one. You've mostly been at home. You're basically just experiencing kind of a carryover of what you did in the preseason. Now, I'm not giving them excuses or anything like that, but now you're going to get to go and go away together and be together and kind of continue to build the bonds that you've had. And going to get to do that coming off of 2 wins is a better feeling than if you had just lost to the Buffalo Sabres back-to-back and then the Calgary Flames. It's the reality of it. And I know I see Sherry in the chat there, Mrs. Negativity, saying, Leafs struggled against a 2-7 Calgary team. Come on. I get it. It was tied late. Max Domi ends up being the hero. He gets his second of the game. It's not the prettiest win. I'm on the same page. And I'm not going to kind of pretend like that isn't the case. But you won. You found a way. And from opening puck drop till the very end, it was a better all-around performance and process. I think this group put together a better body of 60 minutes than what they have so far. I know that some of it I'm trying to take with a grain of salt here because of who the opponent was, as pointed out by Sherry there in the chat, and it's understandable. Yeah. Not a very good Calgary team. So when we talk about the power play looking a little bit better, I mean, obviously, moving the puck better, I should say, not necessarily being more dangerous, but moving the puck better, yes. On the other side of things is a Calgary Flames team that is a little bit more porous, that gives up a little bit more, that it doesn't capitalize on opportunities the same way. I'm well aware of all that. But I think it was a better stretch of 60 for this Leafs team tonight. Now, we'll dig into specifics here about what I thought went well, what I thought didn't go so well for this team, some of which come from the fact that, yet again, your power play just struggles. struggles to execute, I guess is a better way to put it, because I did mention that they moved the puck better, and I will stand by that. I think they did move the puck better against the Flames here tonight on their power play opportunities, but it's just getting in tight, and then you're not getting the next chance opportunity. You're not getting that next shot. You're not getting a second chance rebound or anything. The one that does end up going in is off of a face-off. Nylander wins the battle back. Nylander loses it, and then off of the Nylander falling there, it's Matthews who wins the puck back because he knocks it down off of the clearing attempt. He gets a shot, and then it's JT battling in front who goes and collects the rebound. As he's going around, it's just an absolute clusterfuck out there. Dustin Wolf is out of the net. He's like below the goal line. It's Matthews who picks it up on the other side, and then Matthew Knies who comes in and crashes. It's not your prototypical power play goal, but you do find a way to capitalize. Outside of that, it didn't feel like the chances were coming from right in front and making life hard for Dustin Wolf and the penalty killers. There's a lot of perimeter stuff, a lot of moving the pucks around the outside, and that's kind of it. Whereas you watch on the other side of things, especially the one chance that Nazem Kadri had where he ends up hitting the post, I think it was in the first period, on the no-look pass from Morgan Frost, they're finding ways to cut through you. And again, it's the Calgary Flames. It's not the Florida Panthers, the Colorado Avalanche, or the Edmonton Oilers that you're watching that are dicing you up like that. That was the Calgary Flames. That's the stuff that can't happen. And that's the kind of example that we're talking about when you're saying, hey, you got to get inside them, you got to spread them out, and then you got to move the puck laterally so that guys' heads are spinning and they get out of position, and goaltenders are trying to rip side to sides quickly and be able to follow the play. The Leafs aren't really creating that. But where I will give them credit, which is a small amount of credit when you consider where they come from to where they are and kind of what the standard / expectation should be for a professional hockey team and with guys of that caliber on the power play, but it should be moving around quickly. It should be guys not telegraphing passes and not standing still. And a lot of times it's felt like when they go out there on the power play, everybody's got straight knees and they're all standing around waiting for the perfect opportunity. Tonight, at least, the puck was moving a little bit quicker, and you saw a sense of urgency from none other than Auston Matthews. Now, it's a little that tapered off a little bit. I will kind of agree with people because I know that pushback's going to come. But Matthews ends up with 6 shots on goal here tonight. And I believe 4 of those shots on goal come in the first period for Matthews. You could tell he was on it early and often right away, right out the gates. He was like, I'm going to shoot the puck. Now, that fell off a cliff a little bit in this game, but he came out with that mindset, and some of it was on the power play. Again, not getting inside as much, not getting the most dangerous looks and opportunities, but still moving the puck better. Look, it's a marginal improvement. I get it. And what we're looking for out of this team when you're considering a team that we're supposed to be talking about in Stanley Cup contention, yeah, that's not it. But, I mean, marginal improvements. We just went from 9 games of this is a gong show nightmare, people complaining, saying they're missing the playoffs, it's over, blow it up, get rid of these guys, to a better game, you deserve to win, you avoided disaster. You avoided disaster. That's what happened. Not saying much, but you did. We got some super chats here, so I want to get to. And again, we've got, it's just bad vibes in the chat. It's bad vibes from people in the chat. But we got super chats, so I'll read those. If you want to get your questions or your comments into the show here, send a super chat. Proceeds from our super chat will go to Sick Kids Charity. So send those along. I'll read any questions or comments that you guys have. Want to send along into the show here tonight. This first super chat does come from Michael, who continues to bring the negativity. Michael, who by his own standards should be a general manager in the NHL, and is quite surprised at why he hasn't gotten a call from MLSE to lead the team into the charge, says in the chat, does anyone from the chat agree to use Mitch $11 million to re-sign Robertson and acquire Waugh, Michelli, and Joshua? Leafs will be fighting for a wild card. Michael, this is where the conversation, like, people have to take a step back when evaluating that. Who the fuck were you going to sign with that money? Yeah, seriously, who is the player that's out there that you were taking the $11 million and going and spending that money on? A lot of these guys ended up re-signing with their own teams. Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, they went back to their own teams. Aaron Ekblad went back to the same team he was on. There wasn't much movement of big name pieces going to different teams and relocating. It's not like the free agent market was the most sexy pool of players that remained anymore. You're talking about players here who are on the cheap and aren't locked in for a long time. Joshua, Waugh, Michelli, Robertson. They're filler pieces. And I think everyone around the NHL, everybody around media, everybody in the fan base is all under the same impression and understanding that Brad Treliving is not done. He's still looking to continue to build. That's where I'm at least giving pause and giving this team some type of leeway to say, hey, he's going to go and continue to try to find pieces. A lot of teams fall in love with who they have in the summer and say, hey, we're going to be better next year. We're not getting rid of these players. And then different players pop up. At some point, Alex Tuck might become available. Marchessault might become available. Then maybe you're making calls and trying to see what you can do about those guys to acquire them. But as of right now, or in the summer that is, Buffalo says, we're going to take a step. We're not getting rid of them. There is a waiting period. And to say, well, you don't have to spend that money. Okay, then who are you rostering? You're keeping Ryan Reeves. You're keeping David Kampf. You're playing Alex Steeves every single night. You need to put a roster out there. Robertson, I thought, had some jump here tonight. Again, cheaper guy. You're still looking to trade him. We all know that. They're not talking about this guy as like a player that they're in love with and they're going to keep here forever. He's on the trade block. We all know that. Waugh, Joshua, those guys do improve your bottom six. The issue people here have in Toronto, I think, a lot of times is looking at the piece and thinking, Dakota Joshua is not Mitch Marner. Well, he's never supposed to be. So why are we looking at the guy like that? Why are we comparing the guy that way? That's not who the player is. That's not what he's supposed to be. It's a different type of addition to the team that you haven't had before. I think over the last couple of games, those guys have looked a little bit better. They're looking to fit in a little bit more. And again, I still think bringing Lawton back in sorts out a lot of issues you have in the bottom six. Michelli, okay, sure. I mean, I'll give you that. I will give you Michelli. It feels to me like it hasn't quite worked. He almost feels like those Dubas project pieces that used to be brought in here where it was like, hey, that guy will get it done. That guy will be this skilled piece that'll work, and then it just doesn't. So yeah, sure, that one I'll concede. But the other pieces, you're trying to build a deeper team. And I don't think Brad Treliving is done. If he was done, if we knew that was it, then yeah, sure, I would be as frustrated as well. The other thing, too, to push back on, we were live doing the trade deadline show when the Leafs traded for Brandon Carlo, which I'm seeing a lot of him being brought up here in the chat. He's not playing that great right now, but there was a significant amount of people responding about how much of a steal that was and how much they loved that guy. That acquisition, how Brad Treliving was a genius. Let's take a breather here. I don't think this team is done. I don't think that they're done going out and trying to acquire pieces, trying to build together this team. I think there's more to come. So let's keep it moving. Vlad going hero, by the way, for those wondering, if you're not watching right now, the Blue Jays game. Vlad Guerrero going yard off Shohei Ohtani. The Blue Jays do lead 2-1 in the bottom of the third. 2 outs remaining. There you go. Dennis Rodriguez McMahon isn't a first-line player, and Matthews is off offensively. Yeah, look, Matthews, again, not able to find the back of the net. Didn't look that dangerous in this one. So, little concern. Little frustration when it's like not going in the back of the net. Creating opportunities, though. Getting shots. Feels a little bit different than what it was last year. Again, I'm looking at marginal victories when... Sure, we should maybe be looking at the guy who was 69 goal scorer, but to watch him last year not have an interest in shooting the puck, whereas this year, all of a sudden we see him come out and he's firing the pill and he got 6 shots on goal. We saw him a couple of games ago where he's got 8, he's got 15 attempts, and seeing him actually willing to shoot the puck, willing to take the one-timer, the goal against the Sabres on the power play, down low below the bottom of the circle, like those kinds of plays are encouraging. When you're looking at where they were last year and you're understanding that there's going to be an adjustment period, like all of these former professional players and analysts have come through on Leafs Morning Take and talked about it. Like we've listened to all these people come on with Nick and Rosie and say there was always going to be an adjustment period, as there was last year when Berube came and things were changing up. There's an adjustment period that's going on. Right now, we're kind of looking for some of the little positive things to be changing from even last year with some of these guys. Like Matthew Knies, before the game here tonight, I talked about in the game preview, hey, he's been good to start this season. He hasn't been great. I've been kind of waiting for that Matthew Knies takeover game where he steps up and he goes nuts. When is that Matthew Knies game coming where he's going to be the beast that we know he could be, where he's going to get to the front of the net, he's going to crash and bang, he's going to score goals, he's going to cause problems, he's going to finish in those dirty, gritty, mucky goals, and that comes here tonight. With that, let's get to our Crave the Stats, because I want to dig into Matthew Knies' stats for tonight. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Every time the Leafs are playing at home, you can get these exclusive deals in Toronto only on Uber Eats. Firehouse subs, you get the brisket hat trick combo. Kibo sushi, you can get California roll and Shelby shawarma traditional wrap. All BOGO, buy one, get one before, during, and after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience. Uber Eats, as Merrick says all the time when on the sheet, Uber Eats is something that saves me as well, especially on game days. And the Firehouse subs brisket hat trick BOGO, chef's kiss. That is something. Grab that for the day. You're busy during the next day. Keep the second one in the fridge. Have that for lunch the next day. Money. Or you and your partner split it. You got bang for your buck. Money. Let's take a look here, though, at what we've got for tonight's box score and Matthew Knies' game. 2 goals for the kid, an assist. He finishes +2. He's got 5 shots on goal. He ends up with a hit, 1 giveaway, 1 penalty, which, by the way, I think that penalty that Matthew Knies ended up having, I think that was a soft penalty. Like, I think that was a soft one. You saw him go in there, put pressure on and Rasmus Andersson hard. I thought it was just a good play to get in there on him. Now, mind you, he does get the hand up on the shoulder, at which point they probably were looking for something. And then when Andersson does take a tumble, they're like, okay, yeah, you can't do that. But I don't think that he did anything. I don't think he did anything that was egregious with his stick. And I barely think the stick would have even tripped him up anyways. Like, the stick kind of gets down there behind, and that's kind of the extent of it. So I wasn't really thinking, hey, you know what? That's a terrible penalty for Matthew Knies to take. It's in the offensive zone. I wasn't that frustrated on it. Yeah, and then comment Royale, the slash on Domi was a soft call also. Correct with that. The OEL penalty that he got, I was also confused by. There was some soft stuff that took place tonight. So just all around for both ways was some interesting penalties. But, you know, as we're looking at the Matthew Knies stat line here and just the performance this guy put together, I thought he had a great night. He really stepped up. You're looking at guys like Matthews and Nylander and saying, hey, they've got to be the guys. Matthew Knies is showing, hey, I'm just as much important to that piece and to that top group as the other guys are. And with 16 gone, I can elevate. I'm not going to get you 100 points like he just did for the first time in his career, but I can get you a bunch of points. I can be a physical presence. I can cause problems in front of the net, and I can do all these other things that maybe he didn't do in his absence and step up and become that important piece that this Leafs team has been missing. He obviously has brought it a little bit over the last couple of years since joining the Maple Leafs, but as he continues to physically mature, mentally mature, all that kind of stuff, you're just hoping that his game continues to develop and he can become more and more dominant. And I mean, to this point, like what I saw from him in this game, that's again him taking a step in the right direction. 2 goals here. That first goal that he scores, great strip by Nylander, first of all, where he gets in hard on the defenseman, doesn't give up on the play, ends up knocking the puck loose off his stick. Knies grabs it, pulls across in front of the net, outweights Dustin Wolf, and ends up tucking past him. It's a great play. It's great recognition, great patience, but it's just like a powerful move by a powerful guy in front who's not going to give up body positioning, uses a little bit of his speed as well as his skill to get across Dustin Wolf, outweighed him, and then end up being able to bury on that one to kind of tie the game back up with 30 seconds left in the second period and get you going into the locker room in a much better, more positive mood. So Matthew Knies, yet again, taking a step, and I mean, I can only be happy about that because when you look at these guys, you're going to be looking for depth here now. It's not just the big 3 and then everyone else. You know, it's not Matthews, Nylander, and Marner anymore, and if they're not going, the whole team's screwed. You have the ability to have other guys step up, as we continue on with our Crave the Stats, Max Domi here tonight, who, look, he's been under a lot of scrutiny, and fairly so. I'm right there with people criticizing his play, decision-making, whatever. I also just currently think he's miscast in a center position, playing as the third-line center, playing as the fourth-line center. I know people say, well, you're an NHL player. Well, you're a forward. It shouldn't matter that much. It does matter, especially if you have a different style, a certain approach to the game. I think Max Domi struggles defensively, and being in the center position can expose him with that. If he gets put onto a wing, he kind of gets into a little bit more of a protected position where he's put outside and he's not, as focal in the defensive zone. Put him over to the wing. I think you avoid some of this stuff. Now, I think he has adopted, whatever the right word is for it, a shoot-first mentality this season. I don't know if it was somebody outside of the Leafs camp. I don't know if it was one of his dad's buddies. I don't know if it's Gretzky, if it's Sundin, whoever the hell it was that told him, shoot the puck, Max. You've got a good shot. He does have a good shot. He's always been a guy who's pass. And we've seen so many times, so many opportunities where he would skate into the offensive zone. It's a 2-on-1, a 3-on-1, a 3-on-2, and Max Domi is going to pass the puck no matter what the scenario is. Now you're seeing Max start to shoot the puck, and all of a sudden it's causing some problems. He's finding ways to score, whether it's on 3-on-2s where he's the high guy and he's not forcing a pass to the outside where a play gets broken up and you don't get a chance. You're finding goaltenders have to play him more honestly, which can open up guys around him, because if you're attacking in a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-1 and the goaltender has to play you honestly, he doesn't get to cheat to one of the passes where before he knew that the pass was coming. Now, Max Domi makes the goaltender play him a little bit more honestly. I am glad that he's shooting the puck more, and I think when he gets back into the position he should be in, which would be over on a wing, whether it's on the third line or the fourth line wing, then yes, he will be in a much better position and will be a more impactful player. But Max Domi here tonight, 2 goals for this Leafs team. Looking across as well, 3 shots on goal, 2 takeaways, 3 giveaways. He plays 12 minutes and 25 seconds of time on ice here tonight. I thought he played well. I don't think, again, he played great, but I don't think anybody for the Leafs, really other than Matthew Knies, who I'll give him the credit. I think he played a really good game here tonight. But outside of him, I don't think anybody played great. I think everybody played well. I think the Leafs played well. Couple of players I want to give some credit to in this one. First of all, Easton Cowan. I'm loving what Easton Cowan is bringing. I would like for him to be, making sure that he can continue to get minutes, because when you look at 9 minutes and 54 of ice time for him, I don't think that's enough for that kid. That's the least of any forward on the Maple Leafs. Next closest to him is Dakota Joshua at 10 minutes and 16 seconds there. Then you kind of bump up to Michelli, 11 minutes and 47. Obviously guys like Nick Robertson, who's getting some more power play time. He's getting some short-handed time here now. They're going to get a little bit more. But Easton Cowan, I thought looked really good right now. I thought Easton Cowan looked really good tonight. He works his bag off. He's becoming more and more acclimated to the NHL pace of play, style of play. The one thing I've heard a lot about is the fact that when these kids come into the league, a lot of times they have a tendency to go a million miles an hour. And sometimes you realize you don't have to do that all the time, because that's not the most effective way to play the game. Yes, you work your bag off as hard as you can, but that's not the most effective way to play the game. Sometimes you need to turn the speed down a little bit. Sometimes you need to kind of tone things down, maybe change the pace back to and slow the game and put it in your control. I think Easton Cowan's getting more used to that, but one of the shifts that really stood out to me, it's the third period. You're tied 3-3 with about 3 minutes left, and puck is turned over in the offensive zone. You watch the back check out of the zone. The first forward back on the back check and the first guy over applying pressure back inside his own blue line is Easton Cowan. He's hauling ass back. He gets back inside the blue line, and he puts pressure over on the Flames player to kind of pinch him out towards the wall area. He's not the guy who ends up making the play eventually, but he's the guy who kind of drives him over there, takes away time and space, and he's the one who worked his ass off getting back. Then on that continuation of that play, the Leafs turn back up the ice. As they get over center, dumps the puck in. It's Easton Cowan who leads the forecheck into the offensive zone, wins the race in behind the goal line to the puck, gets the puck back, takes it around behind the net, and ends up getting to the puck to Domi, who gets a decent chance for the Leafs on that shift. You're watching a kid who's coming up here, who's not afraid, who's willing to go below the goal line, who works his ass off. I really enjoy watching Easton Cowan play. I really enjoy what Easton Cowan brings to the table. I understand some of the lack of trust from Berube right now when you watch this guy and you're like, okay, yeah, there are some warts in this game. There are some warts defensively. But I just hope he can continue to get some kind of minutes, because I don't want this guy getting buried in the lineup and just ruining his development. He's like a dog out there, as Berube said before the season started. He works his ass off. I think he deserves the opportunity. I just don't want to see him getting, start dropping down to like 7-8 minutes. And again, here tonight, noticeably has the least amount of minutes of any forward on the Maple Leafs, and any player for that matter. Another guy, that are a couple guys on the other side that I want to point out here. So we give positives to Knies here tonight, give positives to Cowan. I think a guy like John Tavares, again, just a steady, consistent night. Nothing too flashy, nothing too crazy. But I thought he had a pretty good night where he's just good. He's not doing anything that's going to blow you away. The other side of things, the negative side of players tonight, Matthews really tapered off basically about the second period on for me. Yeah, I think he came out and started and looked good to start the second period, and then that just kind of slowed right down. You'd obviously like a guy to continue what he had in the first period, where I thought he came out guns a-blazing, was shooting everything. That fell off. I want that to be more intense throughout an entire 60. I don't want to watch just the first period or a couple of shifts from a guy like that. You're the captain. You're the leader of the team. At bare minimum, even if you're not a vocal guy, well, especially if you're not a vocal guy, you should be leading by example. You should be driving with your effort and your intensity. And after the first period, I thought he kind of disappeared into the night. William Nylander, okay, just okay. Like, that was, that's not what you want from a guy like that who can show up and give you 40. I mean, again, you're looking at these guys who continue to remain at the top of the league standings when it comes to points, and you sit there and you go, holy shit, I'm watching this guy night in, night out. How is this happening? When I watch the play, it doesn't translate. Well, talented enough to get the points, but the frustrating part is knowing if this guy was balls to the wall every time he put his boots on and stepped on the ice, he could potentially be one of the best players in the game on a nightly basis, that is, but it's just, again, okay, just okay. Other guys who did not have the greatest night, Bobby McMahon, I saw it pointed out in the chat earlier. I will agree with it. Does not fit on that first line. I don't think that that's the right solution. Maybe it's just Matthews is still trying to find the guys who work with them, but my counter to that is if you're a $13.25 million player, you should not be needing somebody else to get you going, because if you do, you are overpaid. You should be a guy driving, making things happen, making other people better, not them having to make you better. That's the wrong way to approach it. Now, mind you, Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, yes, they don't always have the right people around them, the right combinations of players and people and lines and whatever. And then you got to work through until you could find that. The difference here is those guys still do incredible things even when they're with those guys. They don't blend into the night. And then when they find the right guys, it's like this magic connection where there's synergy and chemistry off the charts, and all of a sudden they're unstoppable. That's what you're missing right now. Another guy, no bueno. Morgan Rielly. Tough night for Morgan Rielly. I think that pass that he made to Philippe Myers was atrocious. He seems like he has nights where he really struggles. Tonight just felt like a night for the most part. He was kind of just blending into the night. And then when he threw that grenade to Philippe Myers, it was like, holy shit. And then he did not get back in time to be able to get across and make that play. He goes up the wall. Myers chips it up to him. Myers wants nothing to do with the puck coming back to him. And Rielly throws a grenade across the ice. That ends up turning over, and Calgary's coming back the other way at you. And then it's Honzek who beats Rielly back into the middle of the ice. You see Rielly's got two Calgary players between him and the net, and then Honzek ends up scoring. That can't happen. Like that play just cannot happen for Morgan Rielly there. That's a bad decision making, bad execution all the way around, and then it costs you there with the tie and ties the game up late in the third period. Like that just cannot happen, especially when you're looking at a guy who's your highest paid defenseman. Not acceptable. Other things here for tonight. Anthony Stolarz. Look, I want to give him as much credit as possible, and I want to continue to say, hey, look, the defense has not been that great. Like I watched that Morgan Frost goal. That is an Autobahn through the neutral zone. Go where you want, when you want, how you want. Cut through the defenders. Everybody opens up. It's easy to pass through them, easy to pass around them, easy to enter the zone. You're watching Nazem Kadri skate right down the middle of the ice. And I want to kind of say, hey, you know what? Stoley's not dealing with the greatest defense right now, the greatest transition team. These guys aren't picking things up and backing him up. There's really some goals right now that should not be going in. As I mentioned earlier, Domi struggling defensively. Sure, he lets Joel Farabee get the inside track on him. But Farabee jams that thing right through Stolarz's legs. Did not look like a dangerous chance against Stolarz. Now, mind you, yes, it's dangerous for him getting in tight, but just the opportunity that he has and him putting it through Stoley's legs like that should never have happened, in my opinion. That's not an acceptable goal for Anthony Stolarz. So there are some warts in his game here right now as well. And I think that either side is just kind of battling back and forth, where one side is just not helping the other, and then the other is not helping back on the defensive side. Like, it's, as Tammy says, Stoley is stuck with mediocre defense. That's fine. I get that. But Stoley right now has kind of got himself to a point of mediocrity himself. You know, I love the guy. I think he has the ability to be an incredible goaltender. I think he started the year really well, but right now, I don't think he's playing that great. Right now, I think he has another level he can get to. And again, here tonight, .897 save percentage, 3 goals on 29 shots. It's not egregious by any standard, but a couple of those goals could be saved, or should be saved for that matter. One through the 5-hole. And then even the Honzik one, I think debatably there, you could say, hey, maybe that one could have been saved. Look, I'm not a goalie coach. I'm not a former goalie. None of that. But it feels like those ones could have been saved. And if a guy is like really, really on his game, or really being an elite goaltender, a couple of those he can just save for you. Like, you can save the ones that you're not supposed to as well. You got to save the ones you're supposed to, but sometimes, especially if you're an elite guy, you can save the ones you're not supposed to. Couple weeks, I think, is what it looks like it's going to be for Wall, and I see people in the chat there saying, well, Wall, you got to get Wall back. That'll help. Sure, it could help. Probably will help, but yeah, you got a bit to go. We're still waiting. Okay, couple other things to get to for tonight before we wrap this one up. Let's go here now to our play of the game. Play of the game. Play of the game for me, I think I'm going to go with... Play of the game, I think I'm going to go with... the Max Domi. I kind of wanted to give like Knies some credit for the first goal that he scored, but I'm going to go with the Max Domi game winner. His second goal of the game. Again, as I brought up, the whole shooting thing. Look, hard work by Knies and Domi to try to get the puck back. They lose it, and they end up running into each other. But then it's JT with the hustle on Uyghur to turn the play back the other way and steal it off them. It goes to Knies, who just gives a little one-touch to Domi. And then he himself drives to the net, which causes the defender and the goaltender to kind of both go, oh shit, there's a guy over there. The other thing it does, Max Domi's been shooting. So Dustin Wolf is kind of going, he could shoot this thing. He could pass it. I don't know. Which I think if you look back at last year and the year before that, Max Domi is walking in and strictly passing that puck. Like, that will not ever be a shot. He lets that thing rip. Dustin Wolf has to play him a little bit more, honestly, but there's a second guessing to it. There's a second guessing by the defenseman about where's this puck going, and it creates some confusion. Max Domi buries. Leafs win this one. Again, guy taking more shots. You remember how long it took Domi to even score his first goal last year? I believe it was like 20-something games into the season. He's got a few under his belt here now, 2 in this one tonight. And to have that, to build that confidence for him this early on, when I argue that he's not even playing the right position right now, he should be in at wing and not center, I think bodes well for when he does get himself back onto the wing when Scott Laughton returns to this lineup. I think that is a positive sign. Hey, Max, you don't have to grip your stick so tight. You can score. You can contribute. You can create offense. It does not have to be all just playmaking and trying to desperately find that first goal. You can do it. You can score. You're a good goal scorer. I'm glad he was able to get on the board here tonight and do so with a game winner. Jays still up 2-1, bottom of the fourth, 2 outs here. We got a couple more things to go here on the post-game show that I want to get to. Yeah, Snake Pliskin asking no salts tonight. You guys got to get to 50 likes here on the show, and then we do the salts. The other things that I need to get to, so let's do our best bet segment. Our best bet is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION. That's NATION, code NATION at Bet365. You must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Look, unfortunately, we're on a little bit of a freezer here ourselves. We do lose these ones. Thankfully, I ended up sticking with some smaller units, but we won two. This is how the season has gone. Win one, or lose one, win one. Lose two, win three. Lose three, win two. Lose three, or lose four here now. Oh, lose three here now. We now have lost the Knies and the Matthews parlay that we did on Saturday, and then we lost two here tonight, but they're smaller ones. We did a fifth of a unit each. Nick Waugh, anytime goal, and Matthias Michelli, anytime goal. Both of those a little bit longer shots, so we end up losing $40 on the night. That does bring our record on the season to 6-9, and we are a profit of $170. That's 1.7 units on the season. Let's get to our final segment here before we can wrap this one up. Let's get to our grade of the game. Our grade of the game segment, you just send your school grades in. I want to know what you think, what you feel, where you guys are at on the Leafs grades of the game. My grade of the game, B-. Look, if I want to run through some of the stats without even talking about eye test, yes, you got 37 shots on goal. I'm happy about that, but you gave up 29 here tonight to the Calgary Flames, who, again, a team that's not very offensively inclined. Face-offs won. You were even with Calgary. That's fine. Power play goals, you went 1 for 4 that whole first period. Lot of special teams. And not able to score. Not able to capitalize. You should be scoring against this Flames team. You should be scoring at will when you've got guys out there with that skill, that ability, and are paid that much money. Like, you just should. It should not be as much of a struggle as it was. But regardless, you still end up with 1. Not pretty. You did score. You outblocked Calgary here tonight. 15 blocks, 10 for Calgary. Takeaways, 7. 3 for Calgary, and then 16 giveaways for the Leafs. 30 for the Calgary Flames. Frustrating here a little bit that I don't think Stoli played his best game, but even looking at that, to come away with a 4-3 win is great. You get some depth, you get somebody other than the big boys scoring, which is nice to see that throughout the lineup. You're getting some contributions on that. You're good on the penalty kill here again tonight. You did give up 1 or 2 prime opportunities to the Flames, but outside of that, I thought it was pretty solid. This was just a okay game. You played well. You deserved to win. You did win. And I think you can now go on the road and be happy about that. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. I'm not willing to say that was a great game. I'm really happy with anything. Not there. But you played well. You deserve to win. So, hey, you walk away with 2 points tonight. You avoid disaster. And now maybe the boys can get some bonding experience as they go out on the road here for a couple of days. So, get that under your belt. Get that out of the way. And we continue to build. Marginal improvements, marginal wins, and I will take that. That's all for me here tonight, folks. I appreciate everyone who tuned in on the post-game show. I appreciate everyone who participated in the chat, who sent super chats, who liked the stream. I know there's a lot of people who are currently watching the Jays game. I'm seeing 2-1 here right now, top of the 5th for the Blue Jays. Hopefully this can continue. You got something off Ohtani. Let's continue to build off that. And I do not want to see another game that goes till 3 a.m. because I stayed up to watch every pitch and it was a nightmare. But I will be doing it if it happens, just like I would be if the Leafs went to quadruple, centuple, whatever the heck it is, overtimes in a playoff game, especially in a Stanley Cup. I would be there. Thank you all for watching here tonight. This has been game number 10 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season. I'm Zack Phillips, breaking this one down here. The Leafs win 4-3 against the Calgary Flames, moving to 5-4-1 on the season. Thank you to everyone who watched, tuned in. I will be back tomorrow for another game preview during the day and another After Dark following the game. Thank you for watching. See you then. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss